So you've been watching a lot of alien stuff? What?
Yeah, like some goofy, cheesy documentaries on Netflix and
With like the terrible pictures and all that stuff.
And terrible effects and
Yeah.
terrible reenactments. Aliens. Let's talk about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another week at The Man Panel. And here are your hosts.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 8th week of the Man Panel. I am Captain Astro here with my friend Jack Lumber, and we're talking about aliens today.
Yeah, so I'm looking at these like UFOs, and they're just horrible graphics or horrible resolution on your camera. You're like, oh, that could be an UFO, or it could be anything else.
Right, anything.
Like you can never tell. It's always like some hand camera that was used back in the 40s.
Yeah, I saw a whole documentary on aliens on the moon, and they kept going back to these same couple shapes that they found on like Apollo missions.
Yeah,
and they would try to like a sportscaster would do. They like isolate certain things and then draw what they think it looks like. I'm like, how are you seeing that shape in this picture?
That's not true.
They're like, oh, this is a satellite dish, and I'm like, no, it's not. That's a crater. They're like, oh, this one, it could be a gun that's miles long pointing at Earth. I'm like, oh, there's an alien base. They're coming after us. I'm like, I don't think so.
I don't think so, bro. I'm pretty sure that's your imagination.
If it is an alien base, why haven't they come after us yet? We've been. It was like 40 years ago we went up there.
Was it you talking to me about Mars the other day?
Maybe
in the long cylinder that knocked out the satellite? No.
That was on there.
One of them. My buddy Nick brought that up.
Yeah,
and you know more about it than I do.
He probably watched the same thing.
Yeah, he has Netflix. But what was it though? They had like the satellite was taking pictures.
Yeah, there was a satellite orbiting the moon, one of the Martian moons, Phobos, and they have there's two of them. There's Phobos 1 and 2. Those are the ships, and they have an image from Phobos 2 that was beamed back to Earth of Phobos 1, and this dark cylinder that's supposed to be like, imagine one of the ships from Independence Day.
Right.
Really, really huge, like kilometers long. Wow. They have an image of this thing just like shooting in, blowing up Phobos 1 and then disappearing. What is that?
Yeah, what is this?
They have another interesting one. There's like this dark cylinder or circle right near the sun. Like solar flares are millions of miles out or something like that. But so it's probably really far away, but it looks like it's sucking plasma away from the sun. It's kind of weird. It looks like it's absorbing some of the sun and then just shoots off faster than you've ever seen in your life.
Kind of makes you wonder, like, all honesty, when I see a documentary about aliens, I immediately assume that all of the images are CGI, that someone took a piece of film or whatever that maybe is a legitimate piece of, like whatever, and they just doctor it, and they put something on there that they so poorly animated that it looks like it belongs, and then it just, I really do.
I don't know. I believe that they're out there, because...
Oh, I believe aliens exist.
Even the... Yeah. That's one of the interesting things. I'm watching this cheesy show called Unsealed Alien Files, and it's got this narrator. He's like, "Come with us as we uncover the greatest secret the Earth has ever seen."
He feels like a boss when he says it. Yeah.
And they have these really horrible things. They're like they did a top 10 alien encounters recently.
That would be fun.
And they kept building up to the number one, like most epic one. They're like, and you haven't even seen the top 3 yet. And then they get to the second one, they're like, what? Just wait until we have yet to reveal the number 1 alien encounter, and it will blow your mind.
Blow your mind.
And then it's horrible. What it was, they claim that these dudes were extraterrestrial people. They called them the real life Men in Black. They walked into a bank and they were caught on a horrible security footage. Mm-hmm. And they, according to eyewitnesses, they had no eyebrows. That's the thing that makes them extraterrestrial. What? Really? Maybe they just had some sort of weird disease. Maybe they like to shave their eyebrows. But I don't think that's what
makes them extraterrestrial.
No, and the horrible thing was they're like, all the other ones, they were like, oh yeah, they analyzed all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then this number 1 alien encounter comes up. They show the one clip of the security camera of these 2 guys in fedoras and like hats or jackets and all that. And then the one guy says one thing about it, and that's it. I was like, how go deeper!
expert
That's
on
not
the topic,
real.
obviously.
So,
yeah.
some of these things, like, yeah, I'm sure people have had encounters with these aliens. I'm sure people have seen UFOs. I've talked to people who have said they have.
Right.
But that one, I call bullcrap on, because that camera was horrible. That's the only thing you introduced as evidence.
Yeah.
Zero eyewitness accounts and
Right.
And your speculation. You're saying that these two dudes who look like average humans are not based on what? Nothing.
Right. Nothing.
And it's kind of hilarious how they spin it. And Bree, my wife, was laughing at me. She was like, "This show is horrible." I was like, "I know, but it's awesome."
but it's so good because it's bad, and we know. Yeah. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I don't believe that stuff. But I do believe that aliens exist. Like, you know, it's I think personally it's ignorant to think that there isn't some other life out there.
If you're looking at billions of galaxies and each one with trillions of stars, like,
Yeah.
there's got to be other planets out there with something. So
Seriously.
I'm of two opinions about this. Either the Bible is 100% accurate and God started here
Right.
and intended to create life elsewhere, and there isn't, or the Bible is God's word for us humans being on the earth, like fabricated to fit our needs because of our sin and whatever else in our situation. And there's other races that have been around for billions of years. Like,
Right.
maybe God created them first. Maybe he just came to us in the last 100,000 or less. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe Earth had just been sitting there. Maybe that's why we get the conflict between science and religion. Maybe the Earth had just been sitting formless and void, like it says in Genesis, for billions of years. And then God was like, I'm going to do something with this planet now. And then he started making stuff. Maybe he'd already been doing things on the other side of the universe.
Which
I
is
don't
an
know.
interesting point because, like, I wonder the 7 days, right? It clearly lays out days 1 through 7. So, what do you think about that?
I think days 1 through 7 relate to this part of.
As for your
universe.
second opinion,
Yeah.
as for that second point, yeah.
Right. I
Within
think
that
that's
context.
this part. It says, "Let there be light." There was light. Everything is like relative to God. Time doesn't necessarily mean anything. Maybe
Right.
the "let there be light" was a gigantic explosion from somewhere, and everything that we know
Mhm.
and everything we don't know came into existence from that word being spoken.
Mhm.
Maybe he was starting on us 6,000 years ago,
Right.
and simultaneously starting on another civilization 8 billion years ago.
Right.
Because God is
exactly.
outside
He's
of
outside
time,
of time, which is crazy to think about.
Right.
But yeah, that could be true.
That would be nuts.
I wonder what that would mean. So like, let's say God did start with other aliens 1st.
Mhm.
From our perspective, and then, I wonder if they just leaving us alone.
Maybe.
Do they know about us?
I think some do. I feel like
Right.
some of them. I like to think this. Maybe some alien race has been out there for maybe the same amount of time as we have, but they never sinned. So they never went through like a dark ages
That would be an
where
interesting.
it was
yeah.
like 1,000 years of just horrible crap happening to the world and
Right.
like almost zero scientific advancement.
Mhm.
Maybe they never went through that. Maybe they've just been going at it since day one and they are already like light years and more advanced than we are. And then God sends them on a pilgrimage to come here and see the results of sin.
Right.
He's like, "Hey guys, if you ever want to think about disobeying, take your ship, go see this planet over here.
Right.
It's a little tucked away and kind of isolated from the rest of the universe because they really jacked it up.
Right.
Because
Because
go see,
messed up.
go
big.
see what happens." And then they get there like, "Oh my gosh, I don't even know. Let's get out of here. Let's go back to our joyous planet
I
that's
could see
perfect."
that. So, I don't think all aliens are going to be violent, though. Especially if they've been around a lot longer. Sure, you might have some like aggressive race or something.
Yeah, well,
but,
you got to think like, for example, like our DNA is maybe it's arguably between like 2 and 7% difference between us and chimpanzees.
right.
So we look at chimpanzees and we're like, those are dumb creatures.
Mm,
They're really smart for animals, but they're nothing compared to us. Like their
Right.
ability to use tools is nowhere near
right.
human, and their ability to quantitative reasoning is nowhere near human, and all this other stuff. Their
Yeah.
invention, their culture, they have war, but they grab sticks and like beat each other with rocks. Like that's
Right.
it's like looking back
Primitive.
on cavemen to
Yeah.
us, and we're like they can't communicate with us the same way.
Mm-mm.
They're stupid creatures. So imagine an alien race that was maybe just 2 to 7% difference from us.
Right. Wow, those things are
So like
stupid.
those creatures are dumb. So to them, they could be experimenting on us and not have any remorse because to them we're chimpanzees.
We're animals.
Yeah.
Look at those barbaric animals.
So they could have that, or they could be even more advanced and peaceful, like hopefully humans will be someday.
I hope so.
And they're like, oh, well, these things are slightly intelligent. They're not quite there yet, but we could take over the world, but we're not gonna do that because
Right.
maybe the Federation already exists and they have.
Yeah, or United
and we're
Federation.
we're the primitive
We're the
race
primitive
that they're
ones,
not
yeah.
allowed to interfere
The Enterprise
with
is
yet.
up there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Beam me up, Scotty.
They're
Yeah.
not allowed to interfere with us yet because we're too stupid to join. So
That's
So if
awesome.
anyone's listening out there, get on creating a warp drive already because we need to join
We
the
need
Federation.
to join the Federation. We need some Vulcans to drop down. Be
Yeah.
like, hey, live long, prosper, and
Yeah.
come with us.
Yeah, it'd be like first contact. That'd be sweet.
That'd be awesome.
First
Yeah.
real contact, legitimate.
Real,
I'd love to
legitimate.
see. I hope someday to see like something like in Monsters vs. Aliens, where the
Yes.
ship lands and then the president goes out to meet them and plays the keyboard.
Right, I remember that. Yeah, that was pretty
I
fun.
want to see something like that. I want to see a worldwide televised event where these aliens come out and shake somebody's hand. You know,
Yeah, darn
that'd
right.
be awesome.
That'd be pretty sweet. Yeah, no violent encounters. Let's not do an Independence Day.
I'm
But,
trying to do that. Oh, they're having another
I
Independence
heard
Day.
about that. Yeah.
Supposedly,
another one.
what happens? This-
Okay, the premise of the first one, as I'm sure many people have seen, but they destroy the whole civilization.
Right.
Right, was supposed to be there.
The whole
in that
civilization gets
mothership
on a
yeah,
gigantic mothership and
Right.
comes to take over Earth.
exactly.
We
And
drive them back. Right.
We drove them back. Right.
We blew up there.
We blew it up.
Yeah, we sent a nuke up.
Destroyed the entire civilization,
Destroyed the
supposedly.
entire ship.
Right.
So now they're like they got to milk it for what it's worth, I guess, because people are out of ideas in Hollywood.
Right.
I'm just like, call me and my friend Paul. We have so many good, horrible shark movie ideas.
It's true.
Just bring it on. I could write one for you now. Anyway, so the idea is that when the nuke went off, it didn't actually blow up the ship. What it did was interacted with their warp drive somehow and blew them through time. So now on Earth,
Oh, God.
it's 20 some years later, and then they just reappear. It's like instantaneous for them. They're angry because we tricked them. They're like gonna try to
We
invade
warped
again.
them back through time,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
So we warped them ahead in time 20 years, and for
Oh,
us
yeah.
it was like oh, the alien invasion. We pushed that back, and for them it's like oh, those dirty stinking humans.
You know how mad I am at that premise right now?
It's ridiculous.
I'm sincerely upset about that.
Why?
That is the
No.
stupidest thing.
Yeah, when I heard they were making another one, I was like, no, you're gonna ruin it.
Wow.
My favorite.
Maybe they were wrong about the fact that the
Maybe.
entire civilization was there.
Maybe there's
They were
backup.
wrong. There were multiple motherships that had tons.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's a planet somewhere. I don't know. You have so much creative room for that. But then to say it warped them
They
into
didn't actually
time,
kill them. Like come
What?
on. They killed
Oh.
all the ones down on Earth because they lost the control ship or something.
Right? Yeah,
but
whatever. But
I'm like one of my favorite, actually my favorite speech of all time, motivational speech is from the president
From
in
that
that
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
It makes me cry every single time,
yeah,
and I don't cry very often.
it's very few times. Yeah.
It's usually once or twice a year, and one of those times is when I watch Independence Day on Independence Day.
Well, time for some stories. I think. Yeah.
I think so. So my wife and I we're expecting our first child soon, very soon. She should be. We've had like 3 false alarms, so she should be here any minute now. And we have decided that we are going to try our best to make her first words be Batman,
That's awesome.
because Mama and Dada are way too overdone.
Overused.
They've been overdone forever. Like, oh, what was her first word? Oh, it's Dada, because it's easy to say. No, we're going to be like, can you say Batman, Tariel? That's just all I'm going to say to her for the first, 3 years of her life.
Heck yeah.
Can you say Batman? Batman.
Batman.
I'm not even going to refer to myself as Daddy. I'm going to be like, I am Batman. So,
Yeah.
I think it'd be hilarious.
It's easy to pronounce.
Yeah, it's Batman.
Batman.
I think it'd be hilarious if I come home and instead of she being like a normal child, be like, Daddy, you're home. I want her to be like, Batman, you're home, yay!
So we live extremely close together, and I love that goal of Batman, but I am still consistent with
You
prior.
need to do this
I'm
one
going to
too.
do my best to have her address you as Allfather.
Heck yes.
Because I know you love Vikings, the whole Thor, Odin and all that, and Odin is the Allfather. So
Right.
I would love it if you came into the house one day and instead of being Batman's home, it would be Hail Allfather.
That's for when they get a little older.
Right.
But heck yes.
Darn right. Also, earlier today, Christian ran into a young lady on the street. Kind of awkward.
Yeah. So this morning, my wife and I were leaving for church, and there's this little girl walking along the street, and this wasn't very normal because she was pretty darn young.
Right.
And then to make it even less normal, she did not have any shoes, pants, diaper,
Nothing.
nothing. She was completely naked from the waist down. She was probably like 3 years old.
Weirdest thing.
It was very strange, and I looked down the street, and I was like, I wonder if someone's coming to get her. And I see a police car pulled over, and I hear someone say the words like, "Where's that little girl?" So my wife and I
Jesus.
telepathically communicate. I was like, to her, I was like, "You go get the girl, I'll go get the police," and that's what happened. Police officer was like, I yell, "Excuse me!" I was like, "There's a girl over here with no pants, no shoes, walking around in the middle of January. Are you guys looking for her?" He's like, "Where is she?" I'm like, "Over there with my wife." He's like, "Oh my gosh!" It was the weirdest thing. And then we went to church, and
Yeah.
that was that.
I remember seeing her earlier, and I thought she was like walking into her house, so I left.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." And then I heard you like talk like about the same girl. I was like, "Oh, you must have said no. You left after I did. Holy cow!" Like,
Yeah.
what the heck?
It was kind of weird.
Who does that?
I don't know. I'm not sure what happened. This kid chased a dog outside, or was in the middle of a
Whatever,
diaper
yeah.
change, and her mom fell asleep. Maybe she was narcoleptic or something.
Who knows? Yeah, narcoleptic mom.
It's like, "Okay, honey, time for your diaper change." And like the doors open, the baby just like, I don't know, and just leaves.
And then just like walks out. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's convenient. I mean, kid
Yep.
escaped.
So basically, the moral of the story is childproof your doors,
Darn right.
and don't let them walk outside without their diaper on.
What do you do when you pick a baby up as a cop? Like,
Well, he looked really awkward doing it, because I was like, I watched him. I was like, okay, if he puts his arm under her and like holds her, maybe he knows her. But he held her like she was
like Simba.
like,
you
yeah,
know,
like she was. He
hold
held her like
away.
straight armed out, and
Yeah, right.
it was like he didn't know what to do with the child.
One of those moments like, do you need my wife to go, like, do you want us to come with you? You know, like she'll hold the child and you can just, we'll take her to you.
It was funny.
Police escort maybe to the station, we'll drop her off.
I'm assuming they're fine because when I left, they were taking her in the car, so she was warm, and at least thank God it wasn't this time last year, because the girl looked like she'd been walking around for a while, and if
Right.
it had been late January in 2014, she probably wouldn't be alive. So thank God for that.
God for that.
Still crazy.
So I have a story too. So yeah, I actually decided I needed a haircut today, and I don't know, I just haven't got it cut in a while. I usually get it cut and then I wait like 3, maybe 4 weeks for this to happen. So it was about that time, and I went around. At first, we were in White Oak this morning, so I went to the barbershop, the Great Clips or whatever, right over in the Giant Eagle down the street. Anyway, there was like 10 people there, so I was like, all right, well, whatever, busy, I'll just go to my own. So there's a Great Clips in Monroeville, and so I drove out there, and I didn't want to drive all the way, but I did, and that place was packed too. I don't know what it is about Sundays, but apparently there are just tons of people that are getting their hair cut. So whatever, it was another like 10 people in line. It would have been like an hour wait. So there's a Sport Clips right next door. And I haven't been to a Sports Clips. I mean, if I have, it's been years. So I haven't been to a Sports Clip, or at least this one, for the first time ever. And they even had 6 people or 7 people in there already. So I sat and I waited. I'm like, I'm just going to bite the bullet and go. And so I get in there and I meet this girl, and she's like, "Hey, my name's Stephanie. I'm going to be cutting your hair today." Sweet. Well, I have like this gel stuff in my hair, so it's like a little hard. She's like, "Oh, you have cement in your hair. We're going to have to wash it." I was like, "Oh, okay."
It's one of the best feelings, honestly.
Right? Well, it was crazy because she did much more than wash. It caught me by surprise. So she it was it was an experience. It wasn't just a haircut. I mean, well, that is an experience. It was more than that. It was much more. I sit down and she trims the sides of my head, right? And she's like, "Oh, what number do you use?" Which is something I hate. I hate that question. Like, what number? Like, just no.
Just figure
it out. Anyway, so she does the sides, and then we go back into the little like hair wash room At which point she put up the thing for my feet, like so my legs are like propped up, it's like a lazy chair. And then she put a stool under my actual feet, like, so they're all propped up too. And she puts the thing down, I lay my head back on the towel, and she turns the chair on. And the chair starts like massagey whatevers. And I was like a little creeped out by that at first, honestly. And then she started to massage me, at which point what is going on? And so she starts like massaging my scalp and trying to wash my hair and like whatever, and talking to me about sports and this and that. And then she tries to put a hot towel on my face, and that's when I shut her down. So like honestly, I sat back. I'm like, hold on, what are we doing here? Because she just starts wrapping this hot towel on my face, and I'm thinking,
I will not be killed here today.
That's exactly what I thought. It was so uncomfortable. I felt like I should be paying for service. Like, do I need to tip you right now? Is foreplay on the menu? Like what? Like what is this? And so anyway, we go through the whole thing. She cuts my hair, and I'm leaving, and I start paying. She goes, "So, did you have a good first time?" And I think, yeah, I did. I had a great time. She's like, "Well, you seemed a little freaked out about the towel." I'm like, "I'm sorry. It was, I just didn't know what to expect." And then I thought to myself, "I am not dying today." It was a great first time. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yay for sports clips and the experience it is.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up our show today. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you later. Yeah. All right, bye.